Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen Scarlet Pimp Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe with a cast analysis for the Real Housewives of Potomac. So, for this little series here that I have started, I will be doing 2 housewives per analysis vid, and for right now I am only focused on the cast members that were present on season 1, so that excludes Candace, Mia, and Wendy for now, but it includes Sharice and Katie Rost. So by this video I've already done Sharice and Robin, and in this video I am covering Miss Katie Rost and Ashley Darby. So you probably can't read my handwriting on the little note, but you have the option of choosing your favorite or least favorite housewife in this pair, and I will go through and give the best of them, the worst of them, what have they learned since season 1, what synchronicities, commonalities, and characteristics and elements draw you to them, why what things do you have in common with them, what spiritual alignments do you have in common with them, what can you learn from them. And also I pull a couple of cards that get into a little fan based questions, tea, things of that nature. So you can listen to one or you can listen to both of the ladies. Honestly, based off how I paired them, there are things that you can pick up from both ladies. Like, they may either complement or contrast each other in some way. It may come up where these two ladies can learn a lot from each other in some type of way, or let's say that you like one but you don't like the other one. You might find that the two people are more alike than you initially thought. But I ain't finna be doing all the yapping and stuff. Let me go ahead and get into it, because I honestly can show you much better than I can tell you. So without further ado, let's get into pick you out your housewife. And of course, if you want to listen for both of them, this one is Katie, this one is Ashley. I will be doing Katie first. So if you chose Katie, let's go ahead and get into pile 1. All right, starting off with Miss Katie Rost. Her birthday is July 7th, 1980. Sister girl is a Cancer. Explains a lot. I actually like Katie. Cancers tend to get on my nerves, but I actually have always liked and admired Katie. Very quick with it, not stupid, may appear a little flighty, but she is really not stupid. She's very intuitive. I can pick that up. She is very discerning. She may not always act on her discernment when it's best for her to, kind of like an Aquarius in a way. I tend to say and feel like Aquarius will let a lot of shit slide, and then at the drop of a hat they spaz the fuck out. And they don't spaz the fuck out over what you thought they should have spaz the fuck out over. They spaz the fuck out over the most minor thing. That's kind of what I get off Katie. The name of her name, Katie, means pure. What is the origin, child? It is of English origin, and of course it is a variant of Catherine. Let's pure. Let's think about how pure applies to Katie. Katie appears green, kind of like I said. A lot of people may, let me get even kilter here. A lot of people may approach Katie and think that she's stupid, airheaded, flighty, like I said, green. And that's kind of where that pure thing comes in. I observed that, I observed that that's how her purity comes off. She appears to be pure, while she may not be, you know, innocent and this and that. It doesn't make her a bad person. It just goes to show that she is not as naive as you may perceive her to be. Bars. Which I feel like fits because when she first came into the show, we saw how Giselle responded to her, how Karen responded to her, how a lot of the other ladies responded to her, and also how the fans responded to her, feeling like she was kind of a had like a dumb blonde type of mentality, feeling like she was kind of stupid, had issues with how like kind of ditzy and bubbly she may come off, things of that nature. That's how her name comes into play. But then as time goes on, you see that she is not stupid. You see that she can actually be very quick-witted. You see that she can get a bitch together. You see that, you know what I'm saying, the Read game is on par when it wants to and when it needs to be. She is not asleep. She sees and senses the shade that is everlastingly coming her way. That was bothering me. Okay, let's get into the best in Katie. I asked for the Divine Realm to show me the best in Katie, and she got this wonderful, cute conception card, which I feel like makes sense. And both sides of the coin, as both sides of that coin is concerned. Of course, she is a mother. So when we are introduced to her in the first season, she is in the process of putting together these philanthropic types of events and things of that nature. That's the type of family that she comes from, a philanthropic family. They throw events and stuff, hold fundraisers, things of that nature. They do a lot of other things, but that's just like one of the things that they do, and that's a responsibility that she was inheriting. Putting together events and things of that nature have a lot to do with conception, which has a lot to do with manifestation and fertility. Fertility not always referencing having a baby, but just making something out of nothing, or using the little bit of something that you do have in order to make it grand. Much like you do in charitable situations, you bring a bunch of smaller, or you know, not as grand pieces together, or it may be grand pieces, and you get different variants of them. You bring them all together and you make something much better and bigger, child. So there are times when she is successful at this, and there are times when she is struggling. She's human. What gets in the way, child? So that will get into when I asked, show me the worst in her. Before I talk about that, let's talk about the colors that are showing up in her best card, in her conception card. So we see blue and green predominantly. There is a bit of orange and yellow, but we see blue and green predominantly. So that gives me that. I wonder if Katie has Gemini in her chart, because it's kind of like the best in her is also the worst in her in a way. Her strengths can work against her, much like a Cancer. A lot of Cancers are like that, very empathic, but a lot of the time don't really know what to do with all of the emotions that they feel. Have a lot to say, but may not know exactly how to put it in the proper words in order to bring about the conclusion that they really want. So this goes into Katie's communication ability. She has this social butterfly energy, this kind of extroverted type of aura. Like she warms up to people really easily, like people can open up to her very easily, but there is something very awkward and uncertain in her energy when she speaks that can then warp the transfer of her message and the words that she uses in particularly. So let's talk about that as it concerns a conversation that she was having with Robin and Giselle when she wanted them to contribute and help her with her event. She was asking them to not, okay, it seems as though she wanted them to play a part, not necessarily, come in and be a face or direct anything or any of that. She just wanted them to show their faces, contribute what they could, and give feedback if and when necessary. But when she communicated that, because of that awkward energy and that kind of uncertain energy that she would carry with herself, she may end up over explaining or under explaining or doing both back and forth at the same time within the same sentence, within the same conversation. And it makes the person that she's talking to, and in this case Giselle and Robin, second guess her competence in what she's doing. Because when you over explain something, it's something about over explaining that makes people perceive you as dishonest or uncertain, or make them feel like you lack confidence, because it gives off like you're compensating, like you're trying so hard to prove something. And when you under explain, it makes it seem like you don't know what you're talking about, that you don't have much figured out. And so then that's where that noise gets in that communication between her, Robin, and Giselle, where they start to get this feeling like, what is this? What you doing? You don't seem like you know what you're doing. What are you inviting me to? Exactly. So there's that. And then when those types of things happen, we get into that green, that heart chakra energy. And I feel like that's where the awkwardness and the uncertainty kind of is, where that integration of the solar plexus and the heart chakra is not exactly happening. There is a disconnect, a reluctance to authentically and intimately connecting with the person that she's talking to, because she is unsure of herself and she is unsure of the outcome that could happen with the person that she is talking to. Therefore, she emotionally detaches in the conversation, and when she responds to Giselle and Robin, she kind of is automatically at a point of, you know what, fuck it, I don't want you there, no way. You ain't got to come, you ain't got to do nothing. And that is her way of taking back that control. And confidence and control resonate in the solar plexus. So with her being uncertain and not being sure of how the interaction will turn out, she feels out of control. So she takes back that control by saying, you know what, fuck it, don't come, I don't want you there, da 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 da, just automatically cutting it off. And the tone of how she cuts it off comes from that imbalanced heart chakra, which will now lead us into the worst in her. Now, she has this lover's card, right? This card, when it came out, it was all types of ways, which completely explains what I just said. Her heart chakra is imbalanced. She for some reason, has a hard time with her heart chakra. I'm picking up some type of mental or emotional disorder, like clinically, and light, love, and healing to her on that. For real. I got chills when I said that. Because whatever that chemical or spiritual imbalance is that plays the largest role in whatever that possible mental, emotional, personality disorder. I don't think it's a personality disorder. I'm mostly picking up mental and emotional, of some type of mental emotional disorder. And I'm not trying to diagnose her. This is just literally what's coming up to me. So, like I said, light, love, and healing to her on that. it gets in the way of how she processes and perceives emotion specifically. So the tones of how people say things, the energy that people give off, she's very empathic, but because of whatever that disorder is, it sometimes warps how she perceives it, and then also how she returns the energy. It can warp it and how she returns the energy as well. With this card here, it's also giving some childhood issues, specifically concerning her parents. Those are the first people that teach you love and teach you how to process your emotions. And somewhere they fell off with that. I, what I'm picking up on, what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is that somehow I got a cut on myself, child. On first season of Potomac, they talk a lot about the culture of etiquette that exists in Potomac. And this is giving me that Katie was held to an extreme standard when it came to the etiquette and being poised and proper and all of that. And she was a pageant girl too. So this played a part, that like being pressured to be so etiquette savvy and following all the rules and being prim and proper and pure, if you will, pressuring her to live up to the meaning of her name at such a young age. Had to take a breath because her energy is very open. Has made her feel undisciplined. And what I mean by that is rebelling the rules so hard that she's now all like kind of all over the place. Want to try everything, want to be everywhere, want to do everything that comes across her. Impulsive. Very, very impulsive. And this can make her come off crazy, especially if she does indeed have some type of mental or emotional disorder. It heightens everything. So that flighty, all over the place energy, and you seeing her kind of doing and acting one way one minute and then kind of completely different the next minute, that's what that is. She is constantly in a state of trying to figure out who she is and who she wants to be. She's in a constant state of that. Let's get into how you all synchronize with her. All right, how do you all synchronize with her? What commonalities do you have? Why are you drawn to her? Why do you like or dislike from her? What is the purpose and what can you learn from it? So first things first, we have love life. Surprise, right? No. Okay, so love life. So what I'm getting from this is you all know what it's like to crave love and acceptance and understanding in an intense way. And part of your love language predominantly is being heard and understood. You all like people who are great listeners, who are willing to just really just sit there and just listen to you talk, no matter what you're talking about, whether you're just going through giving a rundown of your day, talking about your dreams and aspirations, talking about what bothers you, talking about what makes you happy. You just really crave that and love and want someone who is willing to listen to you, that loves the sound of your voice, that loves to hear you tell your stories, child. And I actually love that. I think that is something brilliant for you to want. Some of you probably feel like that's something that's too much to ask, but really it's not. It's just a matter of making sure that whoever that person is, if and when you do get that person, that you are checking in with them, making sure that they are okay too, making sure that they are heard and seen as well, and making sure that before you start to vent and talk, making sure that they're in a space to hear it and listen, and making sure that you're not just dumping all of your emotions onto them, because that can be depressing and borderline abusive even when you're not intending to be. So also what that can stem from too is your parents having not made you feel heard or seen. Not always in a silencing manner. It can be in a way where every time you say something, they want to alter the way that you say it. They don't change what you say, but they want to change the language that you used to say. Like, let's say you say, like you just at home and some casual stuff, and you tell your mama, I ain't going to the store. And they pause you and say, I am not going to the store. Ain't is not a word. Let me hear you say it. Having parents like that are excessive and obsessive with correcting you and changing how you do things and how you say things and how you are, can be toxic and can make you feel like you as you are not good enough, and can make you feel like they don't ever see you. They only want to see their idea of you or what they want you to be, but they are completely ignoring who you actually are in a raw sense. And that can be where that comes from. If you come from an upbringing or have parents that are constantly trying to talk you into being something that you don't want to be, or constantly trying to talk you into living a life, or constantly trying to pressure you into living a life and being a type of person that just doesn't fit you, that you just don't want to do or be, that can come from that. And if that is true for y'all, I definitely hope that y'all are able to work that out. That would be working on something that can help is doing solar plexus shadow work, and also doing heart chakra shadow work. Working on detaching yourself from other people's thoughts, opinions, ideas, and working on forgiving yourself for ever being consumed by it, and working on forgiving the people who are projecting their limitations on you, because that's all that is. They're just projecting their limitations and fears onto you. And that leads into this card right here. There's a mommy issue here. And something concerning, I don't want to burn my card up with this 3-wick candle. Shout out to Karen with the 3-wick. But yeah, so there's a mommy issue here, or some type of feminine authority issue. I wasn't digging in my nose. My nose was itching. Make sure I give that disclaimer. My nose was itching. Yeah. So that kind of goes back to what I said about some people having parents who project their ideas onto them and refuse to see them for who they actually are. And in Katie's case in particular, it is more than likely her mother or other feminine figures in her life that have done that to her a lot. You know those women that be like, back in my day, we didn't complain about our husbands. We just endured. Serve him. Make him feel like a man. And child, if the dick between his legs and the testosterone running through his body don't make him feel enough like a man. Okay. So yeah, that's a bit of the tug and pull that Katie has, and more than likely that some of you viewing this video and that chose to listen to her portion also deal with, or you know somebody dealing with that, and this is giving you insight on how to better understand them and to better have compassion with them, and possibly how to better be there for them in their process of learning who they are and working towards separating themselves from those types of people and that type of energy. And here we have a carnival evening. This is referencing the possible mental and emotional disorder. If you feel like you need to be evaluated, diagnosed, and treated, do that. This, if you've been thinking about it, this is your confirmation to contact a professional, schedule you an appointment, get it done. It does not mean that you are crazy or that you should be demonized or that you are something broken that needs to be fixed. No, you just may need some assistance gathering a better perspective of yourself and how to process and make the best out of being who you are. So that's what that is referencing to. What this is a carnival evening. Because as long as you are ignoring the issue, and some of you, you may not even need to be diagnosed. You may just need to contact a therapist. You may just need to, I can't think of a specific word, but you may just need to add therapy as a part of your lifestyle. Just get you a personal therapist that you can talk to like once a week, and you will see that that has a drastic effect on your life and your mental health and how you function and live every day, and you may be much more productive and much more social and improve your relationships and such. So if that's something that's going on with you, I definitely hope that you have the courage enough and the will enough to take those steps, do what you need to do, and work that out, child. Get light, love, and healed and liberated, honey. That carnival evening card that's gonna stay on the floor because ain't nobody tell it to fall. Okay, I got the fan on though, cause it's hot in here. All these lights. Anywho, what that is also referring to though is that some of you may have some type of substance abuse or overindulgence going on with substances, and what was once used as a gateway to fun is now causing hindrance in your ability to enjoy life and enjoy certain things. This is specifically coming up for some of you. Some of you have probably been using substances to heighten the experience of sex. And now, like, because it's going on so long, your body is becoming desensitized, not only to the substance, but also to different experiences. And so there's a need to fast and detox so that you can rehabilitate and recalibrate your body and its nerves and its senses and all of that. So, and that goes back to the heart chakra. Your emotions, your senses, all of that ties into your third eye. All of that goes up to your throat chakra through your third eye. And if your senses are off, your perception is off, and how you experience things will also be off. So there's that. let's get into, and y'all, let me, cause that was a little heavy. That has some triggering topics in it. So let me not just zoot to the next thing. Much light, love, and healing to all of you that those messages resonated with. Much liberation to you all. And I thoroughly hope that that's helped and that you will take the proper steps to help yourself and help your divine realm and your loved ones help you. For real. So now we are going to move into oh, what has Katie genuinely learned since season 1? Okay, what has Katie learned since season 1? What has she genuinely learned since season 1? Let's start with her rebel message here. It says, "Have you eaten? You've been acting like a big ass baby." And the other side says, "You need food in your belly. Eat a fucking taco." Okay, here's what I'm getting from this. Classify that as, okay, again, trigger warning. Trigger warning. Katie has had some type of struggle with food. I don't want to I don't want to be up here labeling her with things, okay? I don't want to be up here sounding like I'm diagnosing her. This is what's coming up, okay? So, a part of how this ties into what she's learned genuinely since season 1, and being the fact that she was a pageant girl and all of that, and when you have micromanaging parents, it can then go into how you eat, your appetite, your diet. Because, like I said, that affects your confidence, that affects your courage, your sense of security, your self-image, your self-esteem, which resonates where? In the solar plexus chakra. And where is the solar plexus? Your stomach. And your appetite is a part of the physical signalization of your solar plexus chakra. So we know that when it comes to pageants and modeling type things, how eating disorders are practically encouraged, the way that they pressure those girls to be bone thin, things of that nature. And also just having a lot of stress on a person. Some people respond to stress and depression and whatever mental health struggles they're going through. Some people respond to that with a lack of appetite. They may lose their appetite and not feel a need or urgency to eat, or their mind is so preoccupied with everything else, the schedules, other people's thoughts and opinions, all of that, that they don't think to eat and they miss meals. So I'm not saying that Katie was starving herself intentionally. I ain't saying she's bulimic. I ain't saying she ever been anorexic. I ain't saying that. I'm saying it's a possibility, but regardless of what the label is particularly, she's had a hard time maintaining a healthy appetite and a healthy diet for herself. But here's the good news, because this is in what she has learned since season 1. Okay? So this is something that has been healing in her. Okay? She has gotten a better grasp on how to eat, what's best for her to eat, and also eating in general when she needs to. Getting better at sensing when she needs to eat and how much she needs to eat when she does eat. She's gotten a better hold on her diet, and she's not micromanaging herself and punishing herself so much for what she eats and what she doesn't eat, which has created much more happiness and confidence in herself and in her body, and which has also improved her mental health in a lot of ways. So getting over into this card, getting into this card, it is the new moon in Cancer. Yes, new moon in Cancer, and Katie is a Cancer. And it is you and your loved ones are safe. So everything that Katie has been through, and I have mentioned the control issues, feeling out of control, and then doing impulsive things to try to take it back. Out of everything that Katie has been through, it's taught her that, much like in Sharice's reading, she doesn't have to control everything, but just in a different way. Than a little bit of a different way than Sharice. With Sharice, it helps her strengthen her relationship with God. Understanding that she doesn't have to control everything and she can just go with the flow. But with Katie here, she's learned everything is going to be okay. She will be okay. Her kids will be okay. Like, life works out in her favor. She doesn't have to try so hard. She doesn't have to put up so much of a front or put on this mask and posture in all these different ways in order to get acceptance or approval or protect herself or protect something or whatever. Regardless, everything's gonna be okay. And her loved ones are safe. So I feel like what I'm getting is that just takes a whole lot of stress off of her in general, because she was a person that spent so much of her life living and being worried and concerned about everybody else, what they need, what they want, and what they think. I love that. I love that. So let's ask some of the tea questions, child. Some of the tea questions. And I'm gonna keep it a little easy on the gal. Cause her reading was not wasn't exhausting or anything. Just, a lot of triggering topics came up, so try to keep her a little light as it concerns her tea question. One sec. All right, into her tea question. So what I decided to ask is, I asked two questions. First question I asked is, does Katie discriminate against black men? Reason why I chose this question is because since season 1, she is biracial. She said some things concerning her admiration of white men. Of course, if I'm not mistaken, she has a white father. Like, it's her father that is the white person that contributes to her biracialness. So yeah, I wanted to ask, does she discriminate against black men? And what I got is the Chariot in reverse. No, she does not discriminate against black men. What I am getting from this card is she was taught to go after money. So her type is green. Green like the color on my eyes. That's what her type, that's what she was raised for her type to ultimately be. Green. Men who have money and access. Not saying that she's a gold digger, not saying that that's all that she goes for. But if they ain't got the money, she ain't got no business over there. That's what that is. And if this was right side up, then it would have been yes, but it's in reverse. Now the reason why I feel like it's the Chariot in particular is because there are white people in her family who are discriminatory. Of course. So that is something that is, inevitably influential one way or another. So what that is it's something that's seeped into her psyche, and she's more than likely had family members that treat her differently. One, because she's black, and two, because she's not the biracial that they wanted her to be. They wanted and expected her to look more like Ashley Darby, who is also biracial. They wanted her to look more like that, to be the light-skinned, doe-eyed, more Eurocentrically featured. But Katie is not that. Katie has brown skin. Katie, when you see Katie, you know that she is melanated. She's not dark, but she's not light either. You see a black woman when you look at Katie. And she's been treated differently even by certain people in her family, which has contributed to these self-image issues that she has done so much and worked so hard to ward off and fight. And I'm picking up on the fact that her parents, that is one thing that her parents have given special attention to, making sure that she appreciates both sides of herself, basically, and making sure that she does not, making sure that they try their best to make sure that she is unaffected by people's ignorance, even though it's inevitable. So there's that. There are certain things that she's had to question and reconsider and work through in order to be confident in the decisions that she makes and in the types of people that she allows in her life and the types of people that she dates. That's what that is. But no, she does not discriminate against black men. She likes all types of men as long as they got the green. And I ain't talking about the ganja. Okay? Okay. Now this, I asked, and I pretty much just asked, I just answered this question. I asked, well, I halfway answered this question, but I asked, does Katie have self-hating issues concerning her blackness? And what I have here is not anymore. What I just pretty much answered. Not anymore is something that she has healed a lot of. Like I just said, people in her family. I don't have to stay long on this one because I literally just answered the question. But people in her family treating her different, the whole biracial, you gotta choose, are you white or are you black? And you know how Giselle did her first season, talking about, are you black today? Oh, is that a white people thing? That type of ignorant stuff. It used to get to her a lot. Not necessarily causing her to hate herself, but causing her to just be frustrated with people in life in general, and just not wanting to be seen by people in general, not really wanting to reveal exactly what she is or tell people that she's biracial, because then they would start saying all types of stupid stuff to her and stuff. So there's that. But the answer to that question is not anymore. It's something that she's had to work through. And I feel like that's something that most biracial and racially ambiguous people have to work through, those ignorances of people projecting their fears and ignorance onto you, just not knowing what the fuck to say or what the fuck to think about what they see when it's so contrasting from what they've been taught. Cognitive dissonance. So, I think that's all I got for Katie, y'all. That's all I got for Katie. I am going to move on over into Ashley Darby. You can come on over to Ashley Darby's too if you would like. I'm sure there are going to be some things that kind of mirror or in a way have some similarities to Katie's in a way, but in a different manner. Like I said, I can show you better than I can tell you. But then move on over to Ashley Darby. And if you are not staying for Ashley, I appreciate you for being here for Katie, and I appreciate you for being here in general. And I hope that you have been educated, enlightened, and entertained, child. And I hope that you will come on back, like, comment, subscribe, and share, because I care so much, child. So much. Light, love, and liberation. Peace. Moving on. All right, y'all, it's time for group 2. And we are focused on Ashley Darby. Oh, messy cell. Y'all, I like Ashley. I don't be wanting to, but I actually like the girl. She is problematic as hell, though. Child. But that's for another time. I'm going to save that for when I review the show. Let's review her spirit. So here we have for Ashley, the Ashley Show. What? Oh, okay. Let me get myself together. Okay, so first things first, I'm the realist. Oh, no. Y'all, I'm sorry. Okay. I don't know why Ashley got me so throwed off, child. Because I have to start with her name and her birthday. We know Ashley is a Gemini. But her name means, I gotta type it in real quick because I forgot to look what her name means up. Forest Glade. Her name means Forest Glade. It's English. Okay. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So Ashley's name is Forest Glade, and her birthday is June 8th, 1988. Consistency of eights. That is 6-8-88. 6-1-6-8-19-88. This is an interesting girl, ain't she? Honestly, on her cards in particular, I don't feel like this is gonna take long to do. Even though I'm kind of lollygagging into getting into her stuff. But when I was reading Ashley initially, and also you can tell by on this show, she's a very open book. She can be a little too open at times, like an oversharer galore. And that's literally just how she is. Like, that's her spirit, that's her energy. Because even when pulling cards for her, she's very open. I'm not saying she's always honest. I'm saying she's open. So her birthday, she's a Gemini. Her name means Forest Glade. So let's talk about how I feel like that shows up and plays into Ashley's character and how she functions. A forest glade is ultimately a meadow of trees and things of that nature. Ashley loves holistic health and stuff like that. So she's into yoga, she's into aerobics, she's into candles and like aromatherapies and all that different good stuff too. Using sensual things and all of that to heal and work through life and work through different things, which is also why she's so transparent and open as well. That's a part of her exercising her feminine energy, something she has a pretty good understanding of when she wants to. So let's talk about, I want to talk a little bit about these eights that are so predominant in her birthday. Because the way that Ashley moves and the type of life that she's made for herself and had made for herself, coming from someone who was homeless with her single mother at one point living under a bridge, there is something very magical about Ashley. There is something about her aura, about her spirit, about the way that she is. Like, there's something very magical in her. And I'm picking up on a ancestor that was some type of, I don't like really using the term witch, but was some type of witch doctor or apothecarian, if you will. And whoever that ancestor is, they imprinted on Ashley before she was even born. And there's a divine purpose that Ashley is fulfilling now. And a part of that purpose is she is meant to be filthy fucking rich. And she is meant to have and continue to create generational wealth for her kids, her grandkids, her great grandkids, all of that. It is meant for Ashley to create that torch as she has and as she is, and get the money. Which, green, child, green. That seems to be the thing. Today I just felt like putting on green eyeshadow, and looky, I also felt like using my green stones. Just that, okay. So that's also a commonality of Ashley and Katie. The close association with green, that synchronicity of green. So that's a synchronicity that they have. Not only are they both biracial, but they also both have the synchronicity of being closely associated with the heart chakra, money, and the color green in general. Very interesting. And also being having very open spirits, very vulnerable spirits in an effortless type of way. Ashley is more embracing of her vulnerability, whereas Katie has lived a life of being more reluctant to it and is more so just now getting into the field of really navigating through her emotions properly and stuff. So now that I done rambled about all of that, let's get into this girl's cards. Let's get into Ashley's cards. So I asked for the divine realm to show me the best in Ashley. And what does she have, child? This good old sacral chakra. Are we surprised? Are we surprised? The sacral chakra deals with sensuality, sexuality, creativity, the body, dancing, art, all of that. Are we surprised? It also deals with aromatherapy, citrus, so that's like lemon, orange, grapefruit, also fruits like mangoes, things of that nature. It fits her perfectly, don't it? And her hair color is this type of like sandy, amber, orange type of brown. So I feel like that fits as fuck. And we also hear Ashley talk about her body a lot and show us her body a lot. And I both appreciate it and I cringe at it all at the same time. But yeah, so that's the best in Ashley. She is very sensual. She's able to sense things. She's able to tend to people's senses in a, it's not really in an empathic type of way. I'm not saying that she's not an empath, but the way that it is not in an empathic. The way that she functions with it is not necessarily in an empathic type of way. It's more in this fairy healer type of way, which has empathic elements, but it's just, that's not exactly the word I'm looking for. So let me just explain what I mean. You see how Ashley often picks up on discrepancies going on in people's lives and in their emotions, and she will often walk straight up to them and be like, "Hey, is this okay? I see this going on in your marriage. You want to talk about it?" Da, 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 da. In her mind, she's healing. She is trying to fulfill her purpose of being a healer. It's because it's so focused in the sacral chakra that it comes off weird in some type of in certain ways, and it comes off bimbo-esque and trifling in a way. Because her sacral chakra is overactive. It's good, it works for her, but it's also overactive. So that's where we get into where I asked the divine realm to show me the worst in her. And she has the Three of Swords. So now let me tie these together. Ashley often has the best intentions when she's approaching things and sensing things and all of that. She often has the best intentions. But Ashley tends to have an objectifying view of things. It's as if she got some type of earth sign, probably Capricorn, in her chart that can make her come off insensitive to what people are going on. So that's the Gemini too. She's sensitive and insensitive all at the same time. She's sensitive and insensitive all at the same time. So in the process of her trying to help you, she can end up harming you unintentionally because it's not necessarily heartfelt. It's objectified. There are some blockages in her heart chakra, possibly some swords in her heart that have gotten in the way of her being able to show genuine empathy and sympathy. Like she might feel it, but she can't show it for whatever that is blocking her heart chakra. And a part of how she approaches things also plays a part in her, it's kind of projecting. She's trying to heal herself through healing other people. So that's why it's like back and forth, up, down. It's a good thing and a bad thing because she has the best intentions, but because when I pull out these things, well, let me get into the other cards and it'll make it make more sense. I'm gonna get to the other cards and then make it make more sense. So what I'm gonna do is move to the next question concerning how you all synchronize with her. What commonalities do you have? Why are you drawn to her? Why do you like and or dislike her? Okay, if you notice that the sound quality has changed, it's because I had to plug up my phone. Therefore, I had to unplug my mic. So, anywho, let's get into these synchronicities. How do you all synchronize with Ashley? Now, this sums up exactly what I was fixing to say. It's going to add more description and visualization to what I was just saying about the best and the worst in her. So we have the kitchen table here. This is referencing to her initial struggle in the beginning of her life. So for many of you, you probably come from humble beginnings one way or another. And because of this, there is this residual survival mode that is still existent, which can cause you to dismiss, ignore, and be desensitized when it comes to certain emotions. Any emotions that are not conducive to getting a job done, getting to the bag, or getting your next meal goes out of the window. That becomes an issue when you are trying to be intimate with yourself, and also when you're trying to have intimate interactions with other people. So while Ashley, the best in Ashley is solar plexus. The best in Ashley is sacral chakra, right? So she's able to sense and pick up on things, and she knows how to use emotion and creativity and sensuality and sexuality in order to help herself and help other people. But because of her being stuck in survival mode in certain ways, it's in the way of her heart chakra, which can cause discrepancy when she is approaching other people about their situations. So in her mind, she's like, okay, this is the problem. This is what we need to do to fix it. Okay, come on, let's do it. What's the problem? Why are you crying? You shouldn't be crying. We just need to do da 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 da. Completely missing the fact that you're talking to a human being that has human emotions and may not have the capacity to just compartmentalize emotions and memories and stuff in the same way that you do. They have to process their emotions in order to get to the next step. They have to do something with these emotions first instead of just throwing them in the trash in order to get to the next step. And that's where the worst of Ashley is, that Three of Swords, where she's kind of desensitized to that. She's a little desensitized to the actual processing of emotion and acknowledging emotion and how it gets in the way, how sometimes it can be an obstacle that needs to be dissolved and resolved before you can move to the next step. So Ashley is very by the book. We gotta do this in order to get to the next step. We ain't got time for them emotions. We gotta go. We gotta do this. That's what that is. Which is also why I said that she could have Capricorn in her chart, because Capricorns tend to function like that. What I gotta journal for? What I gotta do all of this with these emotions for? Why I can't just not feel? Because you're a human being. So that's where you all synchronize. You may have a habit of numbing yourself, being desensitized, and compartmentalizing emotions and suppressing emotions and repressing memories in order to stay active and fulfill goals. But you end up neglecting your heart, and you end up neglecting your internal health. which can end up causing you to emotionally neglect the people that you're in relationships with, and can also cause you to mindlessly harm people that you're in relationships with, trying to help them, but not realizing that your approach is rash and possibly abrasive, not realizing that your approach is rough, might be hurtful, because you're not acknowledging and giving enough attention to the emotions that need to be dealt with and resolved. Which, like I said, Ashley, when she does that, is often projecting, trying to heal herself vicariously through other people. And that may be where you all have gotten also. And you probably been having questions like, well, why don't they understand that I'm just trying to help them? Why don't they da 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 da? Why do I come off like this? Why do they think that I'm being mean every time that I say something? Well, it's because there are some swords in your heart. There are some blockages in your heart chakra, some desensitization in your heart chakra that is causing you to come off not heartfelt. And what we also have here, y'all's other synchronization, is spirituality and religion. So a part of that is some of you may be dealing with some spiritual or religious type of heartbreak. Something happened in a church that you may have belonged to, some type of spiritual type of authority, someone in a spiritual authoritative position possibly wronged or betrayed you or led you down a wrong path, and you have some residual trauma from that needs to be dealt with, while at the same time this has made you much more spiritual and made you much more independent and wanting to figure out who and what God is for yourself and within yourself. Which, that's not a bad thing. It's just that there's some things that need to be cleaned up and healed concerning some spiritual and religious trauma specifically, and that will help clear up that heart chakra blockage that could be causing you all to come off heartless, even though y'all are not heartless. Y'all feel, you just don't know how to show what you feel. You don't know how to convey to other people what it is that you're feeling in the exact way that you're feeling it. And it can cause people to think you're just being an asshole. I'm sorry, I hope y'all work that out. I can relate. I can relate to some extent though, because I have Venus. Well, I'm a Leo, and my Venus is in Gemini, so I definitely know what it's like to come off like an asshole when you're genuinely not intending to. With that heart chakra work, there's also some throat chakra work that could stand to be done as well. I may drop a few tips in the comments and whatnot. Let's get into, like I said, this sister girl is not taking long at all. It's coming straight out. So let's get into now. What has Ashley learned since season 1? What has she genuinely learned since season 1? What has Ashley genuinely learned since season 1? Jumping straight into it. So we have adjustments are required. Third quarter moon. I'll show the image again. Adjustments are required. So what I'm getting off of this is literally kind of sums up everything that I just said. Everything that I just said, Ashley has realized about herself. She genuinely listens to what her castmates say to her and say about her. And she genuinely listens to fan feedback. Not only her fans, but also people who do not like her. She also takes those comments into consideration, and she takes genuine long looks at herself and decides how she wants to respond to it, because she is a person that genuinely enjoys and embraces edification, constantly improving and evolving herself in the best ways. So at this point where she is now, she's realizing that she's come off like an asshole. She's also realized that she's come off in a bimbo trophy type airheaded manner in certain ways. She realizes that she hasn't presented herself as her higher self, the way that she thought that she was, in the way that she wanted to. So she's looking at herself and reevaluating her life and reevaluating who she is and how she is and how she's been. And she is basically looking at different examples of women in different areas and environments of life, and looking at their stories and coming to her own conclusions about the type of woman and the type of person that she wants to continue to evolve into. The person that she is now, it's like she's had these thoughts before, right? And so the person that she is now is partially what she had on her manifestation list years ago, but there are certain parts that are not as good as she thought it would be. Certain elements of her life that are not, and certain elements of her character now that are not as beneficial or not as valuable as she thought that they would be. So she's realizing that adjustments need to be made, some changes need to happen, and in order for that to happen, she has to start with herself. Having kids and having another kid has also put that in a grander perspective for her. So I wouldn't be surprised if season 6 Ashley comes back on some, as Ashley, but even more mature and possibly even more embraceable than she has been in the past. Like, what I mean by that is certain people who have not liked her, even like right now, probably don't like her right now. That may end up changing by season 6 in it. That might end up changing by season 7. That might end up changing by the next season. She may end up in a much better space. Like, the work that she's doing now may end up putting her in a much better frequency and a much better vibration, to where she comes off much more likable and much more tolerable to people and much more admirable to people, and that'll end up changing the perception that people have of her. And some people who don't, I keep saying people, I'm sorry if that's irritating, but certain individuals who do not like her now may end up liking her by next season or at the end of next season, because she is genuinely doing soul work on herself to genuinely be a better person, not just optically, but in general, being a better person and a better woman, not based off impressing somebody else, but she literally wants to impress herself. It's like she's been going through life kind of trying to impress people in a way, and now she's in a space of, I want to impress myself, I want to one up myself, I want to see if I can outdo myself. Let's do it. And she's genuinely putting in that work, putting in that time, and child, we're gonna see what happens. I'm excited. So her other card here is, don't talk to anyone, don't look at anyone. You need some fucking alone time, and you know why. And now we know why too. because the reason why she needs alone time is exactly for what I just said. She knows that adjustments are required, and in order to really get a keen view and a keen understanding on what those adjustments are and how to make them, and to get herself, nuzzled in and settled in to those adjustments, she needs a long time. She needs to be to herself at certain points throughout every day, or at least like for a week, or sometimes she needs a long time. And that's something that she has learned, that it's not always good to always be in somebody's face all the time and always have people all around you in your space and stuff all the time. And I think those kids are enhancing her value of privacy. So there is that. Now we are going to get into the last segment for Miss Ashley and talk about a little bit of tea. We're going to ask the divine realm about a little bit of tea, a little bit of fan-based questions, okay? And I am going to ask questions concerning Miss Ashley and her husband. Let's get into it. All right, y'all. I asked a couple of questions for these, but they are really short, sweet, straight to the point answers, child. So the first question that I asked is, does Ashley genuinely love Michael in a romantic, sexual, and spiritually type of way? Spiritual type of way. Does Ashley genuinely love Michael in a romantic, sexual, and spiritual type of way? And the answer is yes. From now, you start having some down. The answer is yes. Okay? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. She loved that man. What I'm getting off of this card, just a little elaboration. She loves the way that he talks. April. Ashley, what I'm picking up on here is that Ashley is a sapiosexual. She is attracted to people who are extremely intelligent or uniquely intelligent, that have special skills, whether it's business, creativity, people who are able to perform in extraordinary manners. She likes people with nice voices that have great vibrational frequency. What am I trying to say? Voices that feel good vibrating to the ear. That's what I'm trying to say. She likes really nice voices and people who just talk. And we do see Michael ramble a lot, so that makes sense. She likes to listen to ramble. She likes to listen to Michael ramble about whatever. She just likes to listen to him talk. And she said it on the reunion. She said that she likes the way that he thinks. And that's exactly what's coming up. She likes the way that he thinks. She likes the way that he processes information, the way that he conveys himself, the way that he expresses himself. She likes that. She likes the way that he's able to make money. She likes his business savviness. She likes the way that he is outgoing, and picking up that Michael is great at multitasking and bringing people together. Michael has some King of Swords energy. That's interesting because that card came out when I was pulling too. Michael has King of Swords energy. So what that means is, one, he is good at talking, he is charismatic, and he is good at bringing people together, just as he is good as separating people, causing division, and bringing people apart, child. And so Ashley sees power in that. And all of those characteristics that I just named, all the way up to his King of Swords energy, Ashley sees that as a sense of power, a sense of empowerment. And she likes that. She loves it. She's attracted to it. That's why she genuinely loves him, ultimately because she is a sapiosexual. So she's attracted to his mind and his personality and his abilities more than it is a physical aesthetic type of thing. I found that interesting. That's very nice. I asked for the second question, I asked, would Ashley be with him if he was not rich? Would she have given him the time of day if he was not rich? Nicki Minaj asked him this question on the final part of the reunion, and Ashley said, she tried to say yes at first, and then I think she said no. I think so. Like at first she was like, yeah, da, 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 and then she was like, no, 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 all that stuff. But the cards here basically confirm when she said no, she would not have given him the time of day if he was not rich. These two cards came out. They were both in reverse. I just don't want to, these flames here, but they were both in reverse. And the answer is no. A main part of that is because, in a simple sense, you can say that Ashley is a bit of a gold digger, but at the same time, not necessarily. Ashley, we all have a subconscious awareness of our purpose, whether we've become consciously aware of it or not. And this goes back to what I was saying about Ashley being destined for riches. Okay, so Ashley has always subconsciously known that she was meant to be rich, that she was destined for money one way or another. So Ashley was honoring her purpose. Ashley wouldn't have been with no man if they did not have money, not only because of the monetary sense, but also feeding into the fact that because she is a sapiosexual, her understanding is if you have such a brilliant mind, you should be able to alchemize. See what I'm saying? You should be able to alchemize and manifest that brilliance of your mind, that brilliance of your character. So that sapiosexuality and her understanding of it goes perfectly together, correlates perfectly with her understanding of what comes with that. And her perspective is you can't be that brilliant in the mind and not have the physical things to show for it. So that's how that works. It don't matter if it was Michael or if it had been Marquez or Malcolm or whoever. If they didn't have nothing to show for how genius they claim to be, or how well they speak, how talented they are, Ashley was not dealing with them because she wants to be with somebody who has a great sense of alchemy and a great sense of conception. And that's what she got from Michael. Now, y'all, the third question that I asked is Michael bisexual? Yes, Michael is bisexual. Michael is indeed bisexual. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the little creepy stuff that he be doing behind the scenes, touching people without their permission. Excuse my dog, but yeah, it's the little creepy stuff that he be doing behind the scenes, touching people without permission and stuff that becomes problematic. His bisexuality is not necessarily problematic, okay? It's not problematic for him to be bisexual. It raises eyebrows and questions when he is talking sexual about other men in front of his wife and she doesn't blink an eye. But that's their business. It is what it is. I just want him to stop touching people without their permission. Also going with this card here, Michael has a lot of feminine energy, which again is not necessarily a bad thing. But how I see this show up for Michael, it goes into his sense of alchemy and his ability of alchemy and conception to be able to materialize what is in his mind and in his spirit and in his heart. He is a effortless manifester. When he says he wants to do something, he knows exactly how to do it and he gets it done. Period. So his feminine and his masculine energy are well balanced and off balanced at the same time. Now we see the off balance when he is getting into it with people and he get real sassy, child, and he start reading people for the filth and telling them, where they can put it and how to get there. So there's that. That's some background information on Michael's energetic composition. He is very in touch with his feminine side, which is something that Ashley appreciates as well. Outside of, everybody, we recognize the daddy issue and all of that, but there is some real admiration, appreciation, and love that Ashley has for him. And it is very prominent, and I can even feel it as I'm doing this reading, which is very interesting. Does Ashley know that he is bisexual, and does she care? Yes, she knows, and she is fine with that. She knows, and she is fine with that. That's the Justice card. I feel like there's just one hint of being okay. Here's what it is. I'm gonna pick this card up because I want it to be present as I'm talking. Okay. Yes, she knows, and yes, she's okay with it. This of it all, Ashley is very protective of Michael. And she doesn't necessarily give a fuck about what other people have to say about him, or about their arrangement, their situation, and all of that. But she does care a lot about how it affects Michael and how it impacts Michael. Michael likes to put up this, of course, he's a man, but Michael is very emotional. And Michael is actually very sensitive, if you will. Wears his heart on his sleeve. He's very easily hurt, if you will. And Ashley is the only person that sees that in a real way, because of how it comes out of Michael is very sassy and aggressive and cussing people the fuck out and all that shit. But in actuality, when he's doing all of that, that's his way of saying, I'm hurt. You hurt my feelings. Da da da. And I know we don't have a whole lot of sympathy and stuff for Michael, but we compassionate and fair over here. Okay? And I'm not gonna be, you know what I'm saying, all in these folks' energy just for the purpose of insulting them. These are human beings. They have real lives. They have real feelings. And that's some real ass shit that we dealing with here. So, yeah. And that's what that is. So when Ashley comes off apprehensive or nervous about answering certain questions as it concerns Michael's sexuality and the things that he says about Juan and other men and stuff like that, it's coming from a place of her being protective and worried about him and how it affects him and how he, is going to feel and process that and react to it. But ultimately, Ashley knows that he's sexually fluid, and she doesn't mind it as long as they have honesty and transparency amongst them. It's not something that's a problem for her. She accepts him as who he is. The last question that I asked is, do they have an open marriage? And the answer is both no and not exactly. The answer is no, because it's not a Ashley fucks around with other people and it's okay for Michael to fuck around on other people. Like, it's not that. And of course, I think we've heard Ashley talk about how they have brought other women into the bedroom at times and stuff like that. So there's that. The not that, and that's kind of where the not exactly comes in. The not exactly comes in, whereas, just like I just said, as long as there is honesty amongst them and transparency amongst them, Ashley is unfazed. She's not the type of person to get jealous about other people being around her man or wanting her man or her man wanting other people type stuff. She's not the type of person to get jealous or fazed by that type of stuff. She is big on honesty. And if he lies to her about it, that's what makes the difference. If he hides it from her, that's what makes the difference. If he doesn't say anything and he just gets caught out there, that's what makes the difference. But ultimately, no, they don't have an open relationship. They have a tell me what it is and what it's gonna be type of relationship. So that's all I got. Ain't no more. Until next time, of course. So I hope that that was very educational and entertaining. I hope that you have been enlightened and liberated, child. I hope that everything resonated, made sense. You know what I'm saying? I hope it gave you more insight, not only about the housewives that we read into today, but also about yourself and how you can go forth and be a better you, child, okay? And honor your purpose. So, as I said, I wish you all light, love, and liberation. Child, excuse me. I wish you all light, love, and liberation, and I hope that you all will come on back through, like, comment, and subscribe, share, because I indeed care, honey. I care a lot. And come on back through for the next things that I will have for you all. I know y'all want to see Karen and Gizzard. I know y'all want to see Karen and Gizzards read. And of course, feel free to scroll through all of my other videos and all of the other different types of content that I already have and will have going forth. I ain't gonna hold y'all no more. Thank y'all so much. And I hope to see you again. Peace. Let me not do that because it look like y'all just a peace sign, okay? Peace.